Hey, this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan. So, a few nights ago, I did a live debate here on one of my live streams against an anti-vegan, hosted Cuervo. And in that live debate, he threw out just completely factually incorrect bits of misinformation. And unfortunately, it was so frustrating for you guys to watch, and even more so for me, because normally I'd just be able to go to a web browser and show you guys the relevant data, USDA government reports, and studies that would debunk this information that was being said, but I wasn't able to because of a computer just problem I was having at that time. And so we were just kind of left with him saying things and no way for me to show the actual facts of the matter. So now with all that out of the way, my computer is working just fine here. I'm going to look at the three most outrageous claims he made against veganism and show how they're completely false. This debate was supposed to be about the ethics or morality of veganism or eating meat. And I thought it was going to be that. It turned out to be something entirely different, but I thought a good place to start would be the definition of veganism as defined by the Vegan Society, and he seemed to have huge problems with that.
Main issue with that is I know for a fact that eating animal products actually causes the least amount of harm to animals.
As you can see there, I'm going to my computer and discovering that I can't pull up any information to factually debunk what he's saying. And we did also discuss that the definition of veganism doesn't contain the idea of absolute 100% perfection, of no harm or cruelty whatsoever, or veganism is null and void. No, he's going way beyond that. He's actually arguing that being vegan, the more plants that people eat will result in more animals being killed. So he's saying the best way to save the animals is to eat more animals. You know this for a fact, and where is this fact from?
Well, let's just look at the plant system. I mean, and to grow plants, mass-produce plants, I won't say grow plants just in general, I'll say mass-produce plants, we need to implement strategies that kill sentient being life to produce these foods for us.
Okay, 1 second here. Damn, I'm on my
So we are having a study battle. I thought we weren't, but okay. Like I said, prepare for a study battle, but...
No, 1 second. Okay. Notice how he's getting uncomfortable about this possibly becoming a study battle, as he calls it. You know, I would be too if the studies and data didn't support what I was saying. But yeah, to try to avoid a study battle, that's why I thought, and he thought it would be good to keep this to a debate about ethics and morality. You don't need studies. You don't need scientific peer-reviewed studies and government data to prove ethics or morality. But he started throwing out bits of information that were factually wrong, and all of a sudden this became a debate not about ethics and morality. But anyway, let's continue on. The amount of basically deaths required to produce a certain amount of calories of food. And here's the whole point. It's like, it's far less. No matter how you look at it, no matter what kind of plant food you're eating, you're going to end up killing more animals in the production of food because animals are fed crops.
I disagree.
Well, of course he disagrees, but he has every right to disagree with something that is true. And he's just speculating here. He didn't offer any studies, any data whatsoever, just gave his opinion. And well, instead of relying on an anti-vegan's opinion, let's look at someone who's actually tried his best to calculate how many animals are killed in the production of foods. Here's a paper entitled "The Number of Animals Killed to Produce 1 Million Calories in 8 Food Categories." And by the way, if any anti-vegans want to try to debunk this here, the author of this paper was very clear and transparent about what assumptions were made, what formulas were used. So if you're decent at math, have at it. Anyway, once all the calculations were made, it wasn't even close, not by a long shot. So of the 8 food categories calculated in this paper, the top 5 are animal products, with chicken being number 1. And no surprise, the bottom 3 categories are plants, vegetables, fruits, and grains. But the gold part of the graph represents the numbers of animals that are killed during the harvest. And again, it's much higher when we're talking about the 5 categories of animal products.
So there's the issue is you keep running. There's a lot of different points you're making, and we got to stop and address.
It's funny how every time I try to stop him, to slow down and figure out what he's trying to say and then respond to show that it's factually untrue, he calls me running. No, I'm not using any technique. I'm not trying to distract or anything like that. I'm actually trying to find your argument, make sure I understand it because it's so absurd, and then show you why it's factually incorrect.
So you say animals are eating crops.
Yes.
Classic vegan propaganda.
Oh, really? Vegan propaganda. So you guys heard it here first, that it's vegan propaganda that livestock are fed crops.
You're running way off topic, man.
No, you're saying it's a vegan myth that livestock are fed crops, and that's not a myth.
No, I'm talking about, man, I mean, if you've ever been to a farm, you realize that animal feed is completely 100% inedible to humans. You can't feed humans animal feed, Ryan. That's a ridiculous claim to say that we can feed animal feed to humans instead of animals.
Classic bad move there is to try to put words into your opponent's mouth. Where have I ever suggested anywhere that humans should be eating livestock feed? I know the way it's prepared, when you look at it, it's not something that humans are really going to be eating, but where does the food come from? It comes from crops that were grown.
Ryan, this is where the vegan propaganda.
Oh, okay, you're saying I'm lying. You're saying I'm lying.
No.
That livestock are fed corn and soy. Like factory farming, livestock are fed corn and soy. Not exclusively, but they consume.
See,
you're saying livestock don't consume the majority of corn and soy in the United States. You're saying I'm lying. Are you saying I'm lying? Yes or no?
No, listen. You won't.
No, I mean, tell me. Am I lying or not?
So
when I say the majority of corn and soy grown in the United States are fed to livestock, not humans, is that true or false?
Brian, every time I make a point,
is that true or
running.
false? We'll get to you, but just tell me, is that true or false?
I think you're completely misguided. So let me speak for a sec.
I might be misguided. I might be misguided, but tell me, is that true or false, that statement? Yes or no? Yes or no? I mean, how hard is it to answer yes or no? Yes, Ryan, you are stating a true fact there, or no, Ryan, you're completely full of it. Why won't he answer the freaking question? Yes or no? Is the majority of corn and soy in the United States grown for livestock? Is that true or false?
Inedible waste products from these productions.
I mean, just tell me, true or false. It's either true or it's false. So after what seemed like finally having to pull a few of his teeth out, we finally got him to take a position that I was making a false statement that the majority of soy grown in this country is fed to livestock. Well, let's see what the actual data says. Remember, he thinks I'm just spouting vegan propaganda here. Let's look at a government fact sheet here from the USDA, and it says very clearly that over 70% of soy grown in this country is used for animal feed versus just 15% for humans.
So you say animals are eating crops.
Yes.
Classic vegan propaganda.
Sorry, I don't know how that could be more clear that over 70% of soybeans grown in this country are used as animal feed. This is from the USDA fact sheet here. That's not vegan propaganda. I mean, if you're going to deny that, you might as well deny that the earth is round.
When you buy plants and you eat plants, waste is being created from these plants. The only way to get rid of this waste is to feed animals, Ryan.
Oh, really? You're saying the only way, not just the primary way, but the only way to get rid of plant matter, waste plant matter that's created in agriculture is to feed it to animals. I find that really hard to believe.
That's where most animal food is coming from waste. So the more plants you're promoting people eat, the more plant waste you are creating. And where does this more plant waste have to go? To more animals.
It have to. Wait, have to. Why does it have to go to animals? There's no.
Where are you going to put it?
It has to.
Who's going to eat it? Humans aren't going to be
eaten by anything. It's to be thrown back into the ground as a cover crop, a fertilizer. No, you're just making stuff here. If there's plant waste, it doesn't have to be fed to animals. It doesn't have to be It could go on the land as fertilizer. It could be used for anything. Why do animals have to eat plant waste? You're saying this is what happens. If there's plant waste, it has to go to an animal, and therefore they have to breed more animals. Not so. If there's more vegans,
this is called the real world.
So if you're hearing this from him and you're really extremely doubtful, really skeptical of what he's saying, well, you should be, because it's completely untrue. There are many uses for agricultural waste that don't involve having animals eat it. And that's his whole argument there. He's saying that the more agricultural waste there is from people growing more and more plants, we need to breed more animals into existence to eat it, so we should just actually not eat all these plants and there'll be fewer animals. Crazy argument. But anyway, let's get back to what he's saying here and see some other perfectly acceptable uses for agricultural waste. So that I can't possibly be accused of using vegan propaganda here, I'm going to show websites and information from the actual farming industry. For instance, here from a bank that serves the farming industry. And to make sure that he and I are talking about the same thing, agricultural waste, they're talking about cellulose from corn stalks, unproductive oilseed stalks of cotton and sugarcane, and plant-based byproducts of the growing season. And this financial branch of the farming industry says you can use agricultural waste for biofuels, plastic substitutes, and bioplastics. And this website here of the poultry industry says that agricultural waste, like corn stover and orange peels, can be turned into a variety of useful products, such as spandex. The fact of the matter is that agricultural waste can be transformed into many different kinds of products, like packaging and skincare products, or you can just toss it in a landfill or fertilize your crops with it. It doesn't have to be fed back to animals.
Where people grow plants, then they take the plant waste, they mill it, and they use the plant waste to feed their animals. This is called the natural cycle of food, which you vegans think that you are better than, and you found this magical way that's better than the natural way to do this, and it's just not accurate. It's propaganda. It's complete vegan propaganda.
So let me see if I get this right. So when I put out information that's fact-based, that's evidence-based, that's somehow vegan propaganda, even if the USDA.gov website supports what I'm saying. But when he says something, it's not propaganda. But it's just so ironic, because this is complete propaganda. Yes, he is right that sometimes some agricultural waste is fed to animals, but as if you look up animal feed here on Wikipedia, it says that's not the norm. It's something that some producers do, some growers or breeders do, I should say, to reduce their costs. They're just trying to be cheap, and it's not a necessity, as my debate opponent here keeps asserting. He didn't admit that there were any other uses of agricultural waste other than feeding it back to animals, which was his whole reason for attacking veganism, saying if you really want to reduce the amount of animals bred into existence, we need to reduce the amount of plants created. And that's just completely false. His argument falls down on itself because that one premise that it rests upon is completely untrue. So as you can see, this is why I was a little bit frustrated during this debate, not necessarily hearing his constant stream of nonsense, but my inability to pull up a web browser to show you guys in real time all the studies, the facts, the evidence, the governmental papers that completely disprove what he's saying here. He's just making stuff up. And I'll reiterate it again. He didn't offer any one piece of evidence to support what he's saying. He's just saying it very forcefully like it's true. And I've seen this debate technique, if you want to call it that. He who shouts the loudest and really is aggressive about it thinks he has the truth. No, you can shout all you want, but facts are facts, and no amount of shouting is going to change reality, which is a hard thing for most anti-vegans to accept. No shade here, but most anti-vegans are living in an alternate reality where facts just don't matter. And as I said here, remember how he didn't want to get into a battle of studies or whatever he called it, because I think he knew somehow that the studies just simply don't support what he's trying to say here. So anyway, guys, leave your questions and comments down below. Let me know if you were watching that debate Friday night. Let me know what you thought. Were you fully aware? I only didn't try to use it as an excuse, but were you fully aware that I couldn't get to the internet to show you guys any of these reports and studies that I wished I could have? And it just so frustrated me because everything he's saying is so easily disprovable, but it is what it is. So let me know. That's why I'm making this video, giving me an opportunity to show what I would have showed during the debate. Anyway, I've since fixed my problems. I think I need to do a few more tests, but hopefully that'll never happen again on live stream, because it sucked not being able to do what I wanted to do. So anyway, guys, hit like, share this video, and remember, guys, let's stay vegan.
When does the pain